Richard Goldberg said, and we're going to go a little bit further down this line of what they're claiming the Iranian leaders are saying. He said that now then, because of all this pressure, Iran is in a presidential panic.
They are in presidential panic mode inside of Iran. The president of Iran is saying, we're running out of time here. We're running out of money. The blockade is taking hold. We're about to see this economic D-Day come out of the White House as well, and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. That could include an air and land embargo enforced by U.S. sanctions and tariffs against all those countries on the map, and also actual enforcement of sanctions against potentially even Chinese state-owned enterprises. This is really not a good story for the Iranians right now. The people who run the ship, they know the ship is sinking, and they're trying to raise the flag right now. But yeah, those hardline IRGC leaders, they may want to go down with the ship, and the president certainly could arrange for that.
Yeah, again, more of that just really rough language. Yeah, president can kill them all. President Trump, he can just kill them all. That's not the way it's going to work. And he's talking about, an air and sea embargo. I mean, again, let's just take a look at the map here. I think part of the fantasy is that the United States is, with its Bessent sanctions, would sanction every country around there. You see Pakistan, Afghanistan, Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, Turkey, and Iraq. We would sanction all of them to include Russia and China, so that if anybody does business in some of those overland routes you see there in the red and blue on the right-hand side, some of the places where they can get stuff out right now, there's actually 8 specifically in Pakistan, even by itself. And listen, again, I've mentioned this before. I was once, when I was on active duty, I was stationed in Afghanistan on the Afghanistan-Pakistan border. And you see the mountains are very similar that are also on these the borders of these other countries here. And listen, we did everything we could. We had 140,000 NATO troops, U.S. and NATO troops combined, plus around 350,000 Afghan troops. And that border was like a sieve. It was like porous. No, we couldn't stop anything. And that's with active military on the border trying to stop it. And Mr. Goldberg here has some fantasy that you're going to take something that's as big as Western Europe and dwarfs even what I was in Afghanistan, and then stop all the borders in Afghanistan, all the borders in Pakistan, all the borders in Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, Turkey, all this stuff. You really have some fantasy with no troops on any ground that you're going to stop that because Scott Bessent signs a letter and wags his finger at somebody, says, you bet. Do you realize how stupid that makes us look? People will mock us. Well, the governments, even of those countries, they could just kind of wink and nod and go, sure, Scott, 2 thumbs up, man. We'll do whatever you say. Then they'll look at their people and they'll go, whatever he said. They're not going to stop. They're not going to send troops to the border. They're not going to be able to stop this stuff. Even if they wanted to, they couldn't do it. But that's what we have this arrogance about us that thinks we can because we said something, because we want this to be true. So we're going to have it. Then he says it's going to be an embargo even against China. Seriously? You think that the Chinese are going to do what Azerbaijan and Turkmenistan aren't going to do? What Turkey's not going to do? What Afghanistan? Come on. Number one, I think it was one of our guests on the show yesterday said China actually signed a law prohibiting any Chinese company or bank from following these sanctions. It's literally against the law for them to obey Scott Bessent, and they're not going to. They didn't really need that. I think it's pretty self-evident that they're not going to, and we have zero more mechanisms to force them to or compel them to do so. Anything that we would try to do would have far worse rebounding effects on us, a la what Ukraine or Europe tried to do with Russia over the Ukraine situation. All these sanctions they put on Russia had negative rebounding effects on them and has damaged their economy, and it would be the same with us. China will not, under any circumstances, even think about being financially bullied over Iran. Just imagine how stupid that is. A member of BRICS, somebody that's standing up against the United States, and they're going to join the U.S. against them? That's absurd. They're not going to do that. They're not afraid of Scott Bessent. They're not afraid of our sanctions. They've lived with them for a long time, whether it's in tariffs or other kinds of sanctions. And every day we keep doing this with Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, Cuba, you name it, they're all learning better and better how to get along and how to bypass our sanctions and do denominations not in dollars at all, further moving away, further weakening the dollar, further moving down the day when the dollar is no longer the global finance fiat currency, all of which will harm us out of this arrogance and stupidity.